everyone. I got a job at Apple. OMG. How did that even happen? You may be asking, as I still am asking. What an incredible journey this has been. You may be wondering, oh, Ellen, are you going to give up real estate? Of course not. I'm still a licensed Florida realtor and will continue that job because you can never have too many jobs. And for me, the least favorite word of mine in the English language is boring. And I've always felt lucky to be able to have jobs or careers where they're paying me to have a good time. And when that stops being the main thing that drives me, if I don't feel that way anymore, I move on to something else. And I have been very fortunate to have had a number of exciting jobs and careers throughout my life, as well as being able to have three lovely daughters and, having it all. There was a book when I was called Sequencing, and the subtitle was Having It All, but Not All at the Same Time. And that is really so important, I think, as we continue to thrive into our senior years. And it all started, well, I've always been a closet geek. When I worked at Smith Barney as a financial consultant, aka stockbroker, I was one of four women in a group of 30 or 40 men in the downtown St. Louis office. And I was actually the number one market performer one year, which was how well I did for clients, not for myself. But the IT guy would come to me, and he was supposed to be going around and showing all these other employees, other financial consultants and managers, how to work things on this thing called a computer. Now, I was always an early adopter, and he would ask me questions about where to find things on the computer. I was the first one in the office to have a Sony Clie. That was this first handheld device that had all of our addresses and contact information in it. And I think that's where I have evolved. And of course, in the publishing world, I got turned down the first year for my first book, Eat Vegan on $4 a Day, because all the publishers cared about, the big boys at that time, was how many friends I had on Facebook and how many tweets a day I tweeted. So I was really forced to jump into the whole social media thing and stay on top of technology as we now know it. Fast forward to I'm speaking all over the country in a time before COVID, almost every weekend at different veg fests. And I was at the Chicago Vegan Mania, which at the time was like the largest veg fest in Chicago that was exclusively vegan. And it was at the Armory. And a lot of things go on. You're doing cooking demonstrations, you're giving talks, I'm selling books for my publisher. And at some point, toward the end of it, I realized that my phone was missing. And we determined after a building search that it had been stolen. And so I'm kind of a mess coming back into the Tampa airport thinking, what am I going to do? I know there's an Apple store in Brandon on my way home to the Sarasota area. So I stop there and I walk in boo-hooing, oh my gosh, my phone was stolen. I think this is around 2013, 14. My first book came out in 2011, so that kind of time stamps it. But I am just so upset when I walk into the Apple store. And within an hour, they calmed me down, gave me a new phone, because fortunately I had the presence to back everything up in the cloud. And it was all up there, and it came right back down. So very impressed. Every time I've been to an Apple store as I started running more and geeking out on the different earbuds that they have, and just grabbing some here. This is one of the latest ones. And, all the different devices. I was really just like a kid in a candy store as I learned how to do all the different things that you can do, both on your phone and on the laptop and the different devices that are available to us. So each time I would go into the store, they would say things like, you really ought to work here. And I'm going like, yeah, in my free time, in my next life. I put in an application about a year ago and didn't think anything of it. And then all of a sudden, a few weeks ago, I got some emails and texts and calls, and without going into detail, because I can't about the whole process other than the kinds of things you would hear if you talk to somebody at the Apple store, they only hire once a year, and they only train once a year once you get hired. So I'm in that process now. I will start toward the end of August, and we'll go through an intensive training program. But part of this is just sell what you love. And I've always loved Apple products, and because I have come such a long distance, and this is really my message, if you're thinking about doing something or you think you got to do the R word, retire, and do nothing, that's what this is all about, is tap into your inner passions, because, that Apple Watch is clicking and ticking and telling you that time is running short to do what you love. And so fast forward to now, and people are always asking me how to do things on the Apple Watch or the phone or a laptop. And so I'm hoping that one of the jobs I'll be able to do, and you get to do a whole bunch of different jobs at the store, which is really, really exciting to me, is teaching people in their free classes how to use the different features that are on the various devices. So to me, that just seems really cool. So my message to you is never give up. Age is truly just a number, whether you're doing running or some kind of physical activity or mental activity. It's just never too late to try different things. And if one thing doesn't work, just move on to the next thing. because life is definitely full of surprises, and you never know what's going to come your way. And if you had told me at any point in my life before now that I'd be working for Apple, I would have said, "Oh, MG." But for me, it has been a really great journey, and to have even gotten this far, one of the things that they will tell you at the stores, and I went to the store many times and had conversations with different employees to sort of feeling things out to see if this really would be a good fit, is that you will be challenged in different ways. And you find your niche, whether it's doing YouTube videos in a certain genre or with a certain focus, or whether it's going to an actual job. And I really can't wait to start to see what different things are in store. I mean, I would love to be able to invent the next watch or iPhone, but probably that won't happen. And just to be able to help other people come along the journey that I have, because I'm so old that way before this watch was an idea in Steve Jobs' head, I was driving my car certain distances, like a mile, and seeing where that was, driving the car back, and then running that distance without any kind of device. And then I'd come back and write that on a piece of paper with, a thing called a pencil. And that would be how I would keep track of my running at the age of 28, when none of this stuff existed. So to be able to help people appreciate the technology and love it as much as I do is just going to be one big hoot. So stay tuned. I can't say a whole lot about what I'll be doing, but I just wanted you to know that is kind of where I'm launching right now and finding joy and happiness in helping other people. Because we just have to pivot, right? And reinvent ourselves, right? And never stop learning. All right, everyone. I'd love to hear your experiences doing kinds of wild and crazy things, learning about what it is you have inside you that you still want to tap into once you cross 50, 60, or 70. I'd love to hear your stories. Drop them in the comments below. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Gotta run.